Hello everyone and welcome back to another F1 2020 career mode episode, or my team episode, I should say, episode 4 today for the round in China. As you can see, we just bought a weight redistribution upgrade. That was between practice and qualifying, and well, let's get into qualifying and see what we can do around a single lap of the Shanghai circuit. Alright, so here we are for our second lap in qualifying. Our first one was okay, just a bank lap I suppose, and we'll see if we can improve on this second run. We're in P19 at the moment, only ahead of the Williams cars. So yeah, and our teammate I think is down in last as well. So yeah, we really need to improve on our time if we want any chance of advancing to Q2. That would be amazing, but I'm not all that confident. China has always been a good circuit for me. The track where I got my first podium in F1 2018, and generally I have had good success here in recent races. So continuing on our qualifying laps, the first two sectors coming together pretty well, and they are both green. So we are improving on our time. However, in the meantime, old mates of Russell and Latifi have both improved. But anyway, as we head into the hairpin and on the exit, we're going to try and be nice and smooth, take all the road we can, and through the final corner, flying through there and pushing the track limits as much as we can. And across the line, we are going to qualify in P17 for the Chinese Grand Prix, just missing out on Q2, so that is a really good effort. So I'm very, very happy with that in this one. And Guanyu Zhou, though, way down in last place, so a disappointment for him at his home race. And Claire was actually asking me questions about Guanyu Zhou and at his home race, so I thought that was quite interesting. And yeah, a bit of a new thing, and what you say can affect the acclaim and so on. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. And anyway, but yeah, P17 is a good qualifying, so let's see what we can do in the race itself. So let's get into it.
It's time to find out which driver is up to the task of claiming the Chinese Grand Prix. We're here in Shanghai. Shanghai International Circuit then, a 16-corner high-speed thrill ride. The long and ever-tightening right-hander at turns 1 and 2 tests a driver's patience, and the flat, open to the elements location, tests their skill in a crosswind. 2 DRS zones will assist passing, and overtaking is available into turn 1 and of course down the kilometre-long back straight into the hairpin at turn 14. Joining us today to oversee all the thrills and spills, it's Anthony Davidson. And great to see you. How are you feeling about the race today, and how are the circuit conditions from what you've seen?
Well, it's looking a bit cold out there, if I'm honest. These tyres have quite a narrow operating window in terms of the temperatures they need to extract the best grip. So with a cold track surface, it's going to be harder to keep those temperatures up, which will lead to lower grip and maybe more mistakes.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Vettel, Max Verstappen and Albon, Ricciardo, Norris, Ocon and Lance Stroll, Perez, Gasly, Antonio Giovinazzi and Raikkonen, Magnussen, the scientist, Carlos Sainz and Daniel Kvyat, Grosjean, Russell, Latifi and Guanyu Zhou. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
Alright, so let's see what we can do in this race. Very much looking forward to this one. I think we can have a pretty decent one. Tyre strategy, we have a soft to two sets of mediums, and I'm just checking the medium to hard strategy as well. It's 8 seconds slower roughly, just over, so it's definitely going to be very difficult on the hard tyres, but I really want to try to avoid the soft tyres here if we can. And there's also one icon of rain right at the end, so that's after 90 minutes of running. In the last few laps we may have a sprinkle of rain, so we'll see if that comes to fruition as we go to 5 red lights. And the lights are out and we're underway for the Chinese Grand Prix. It's an alright start for us. We're having a little draw alongside MAGNUSSEN, but not enough to go down the inside in the first corner. Instead we go around the outside of MAGNUSSEN, around the outside of a bunch of cars, and we have to take a bit of avoiding action there as there's a few cars weaving around awkwardly, but we managed to slot into the 13th position, so that's a really nice start for us. And gaining 4 positions around the outside into the first corner. Here comes RAIKKONEN though, trying to get the position back around the outside. We have to leave him the space there and just run over the curves on the inside because I wasn't exactly sure where he was going and what he was doing. But RAIKKONEN down the inside into this almost flat out left-hander, and he's going to get the move done there. Giovinazzi now getting involved, but we managed to hold him off, and Kevin Magnussen, our rival, manages to get past the Italian as well. So we're going to have to watch out for Magnussen behind us now. He's got a little run here, but no move to be made into this section, and we're going to hold on to the position through the last sector. So this right hand corner, it will be crucial that we get it right, and I think we did just that, because when we look behind, they are nowhere. We absolutely nailed it in the dirty air for them. Really affected their exit there. So yeah, that will help us out in defending positions along that straight if we can get a nice exit out of that corner. So let's hope that that could be a strength for us through there. But continuing on now, we've completed the first lap cleanly, so that's always how we want to start. As Magnussen tries to go around the outside and makes quite significant contact with us, and he's gone off into the grass and the gravel on the left hand side there. I don't exactly know what he was doing, trying to go around the outside there. It's exactly what Sergio Perez tried to do in F1 2019, but that ended a lot worse. We've lost 3 positions and we've been spun around into the wall, and thankfully not out of the race. So yeah, glad that didn't happen, but we did end up winning the race after that, so spoiler alert.
Use your overtake button more, it's time to utilize some of this energy.
But anyway, that is the last game. This one as we're defending the position from Kvyat, and let's see what he can do along this back straight. We're getting an okay exit, but Kvyat's is good as well out of the long right-hander. He's going to have the DRS along the straight. Here he comes, and he's going to go to the outside line. We'll choose the inside and try and hold on, squeeze him a little bit on the outside, but we're going to hold on with some late braking, and that should keep us ahead for the moment. But he's not going to give up, and through this final corner he doesn't quite get the exit that he needs to challenge.
DRS will be enabled this lap. You can use it when within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
But moving on now into the final corner once again, we just don't turn in for the corner well enough and run wide, and Kvyat straight through, no opportunity for us to make an argument, and Kvyat is through into 14th position. Next car behind us is Giovinazzi. Look at the understeer we have compared to Kvyat. His car looks like an absolute dream into that corner compared to ours, despite the AlphaTauri being one of the slower cars in the field. As we have a look at on board with Giovinazzi, he stuck the nose in there right at the last moment and went for a bit of a slide as we continue to try to defend from all of these cars. Running wide though the curb sending us wider than what we maybe would have ideally liked to there, and Carlos Sainz and George Russell both get past us, so a minor disaster at the third sector. So we'll see if we can come back at George Russell. Sainz was always going to beat us, but Russell is a car that we do have a chance of competing with as we go down the inside, and he moves under the brakes, but we get the move done back on Russell. We get a warning for a collision, and I do somewhat disagree with that, but anyway, next up is Grosjean as he's down the inside into the long right-hander, and switch back to the left through the first few corners. Grosjean around the outside, and he gets the move done, and there's not a lot we can do to fight back from there. Moving on again though, also through the first corner, still having so much trouble turning in there, and Carlos Sainz gets through. I thought Sainz had already passed us. Wait, he's made a pit stop now.
P16, we have P16, signs ahead, they're on fresh mediums.
So that is how much pace Carlos Sainz has. He's made a pit stop and overtaken us again. So yeah, no chance of us fighting with him today. But Giovinazzi gets through as well. We'll see if we can come back at him through this right-hander. We'll try and get a nice exit onto the straight, and we'll have the slipstream and the DRS along the back straight to try and regain this position. So here we go, DRS along the back straight past the grandstand, and we'll see if we can make the move down the inside. Not close enough to Giovinazzi, and he's clear and ahead of us at this point in the race.
Grosjean is behind you. Our gap behind is 7.0 seconds.
And now Grosjean is right behind us once again. Is he going to make the move into the hairpin? Down the inside he goes, and we'll see if we can hold on, but we go way too deep into the corner, and yeah, there's no point really fighting with him. He's on a different strategy at this point, and driving much faster than I am on fresher medium tyres. And yeah, Grosjean continues on, and we see Max Verstappen retire from the race with a mechanical failure. Disaster for Red Bull. That's a second in a row for Max Verstappen. He retired from Vietnam as well. So yeah, not a good run for the Dutchman as we enter pit lane for our one and only scheduled stop, pushing the limits of what we can get away with into pit lane, braking as late as we can as well. So that was actually a really nice entrance into the pit lane. And we're going to go on to the hard tyres. I did consider the mediums, considering that it will rain later, but I wasn't sure when the rain was coming, and if we didn't switch onto inters,
Go now.
the rain, that rule, sorry,
Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound.
wouldn't apply, and we would get a penalty or a disqualification more likely for not switching tyre compound.
Blue flag.
And now we're getting blue flag, which is brilliant. But we can still fight with the cars around us. One of those being George Russell as he goes down the inside into the final sector. We're going to see if we can get a nice exit through this long right-hander, and that will help us fight back. And we do get a good exit, and we'll have the DRS along the straight as we head towards the final hairpin down the inside, and we get the move done at the hairpin, and now towards the final corner. We have the position back ahead of Russell, and we need to be semi-quick here because I want to come out.
Gap to teammate ahead is 24.4 seconds.
Ahead of Kevin Magnussen, who is yet to make, I think, his second stop because he was started on the softs like everyone else.
Gap behind is 23.4 seconds.
And thankfully for us, we do get get ahead of Kevin Magnussen before he exits pit lane, so we have that advantage over him still. But that is it. We've got Kevin Magnussen behind us, we've got George Russell behind us, and yeah, that's it. So as Magnussen now down the inside though into the hairpin, but we're going to hold it around the outside to the inside of the final corner, but we won't even need that as we sweep through and take
Expect to see some rain about 10 to 15 minutes from now.
the position back after that, but 15 minutes until the rain comes, and there's not that long left in the race, lap 44 of 56, as now Magnussen retires from the race with a mechanical failure, so that our rival is out, and one of the only two cars behind us on track, the other being George Russell, who I think had to make an extra stop.
Ahead is 39.5 seconds.
Wow, that's a lot. Well done, Guanyu Zhou, because he is doing something with this car that I certainly cannot. But you can see on the screen now quite clearly that the raindrops are falling, and it is really affecting our grip in the car. But it doesn't matter, because the race is literally almost finished. We're on lap 53 of 56, and we are now 2 laps behind the race leader. So yeah, it hasn't been the greatest race for us in terms of pace, and it's really only getting worse from this point. But it doesn't matter, because we are not last, and we are still ahead of our rival, who is out of the race. Guanyu Zhou doing well though, so that's always good, and what you want to see. So Guanyu Zhou is in 17th position, which is where I qualified, so I think something went wrong for him in qualifying, because he should have been up there with me.
I know these conditions are tough, but bear with it. I don't think the track is ready for intermediates yet. Our gap to the car in front is 41.3 seconds.
And the gap to the car in front is simply ridiculous. But anyway, we aren't going to worry about that too much, because yeah, we just need to just get this car home at this point.
You currently hold 19th.
And yeah, so for one final lap, all we have to do is try to hold up
laps of fuel remaining.
George Russell, and we'll bring home the second last position. I do not want to finish last again like we did in Bahrain. So let's see what we can do on this final lap, driving very, very slowly through the first sector. But thanks to a couple of blue flags that worked out in our favour, we did have a small buffer to George Russell, taking the defensive line into the second sector. But George Russell with a little bit of an overlap there, and we made a bit of contact as I lost the rear end there, but holding the inside line into these flowing corners, and we managed to hold the position as we go on board with George Russell. And you can see we are so out of control. Russell is very smooth as we just continue to just lose the rear end slightly through all of these corners, but it doesn't matter, because
in front is 45.6 seconds.
With conditions like this, if you can keep it on the racing line, the AI have a lot of trouble trying to make any kind of overtake. So a nice exit out of this corner, and that should seal the deal, provided that we don't make a mistake. Russell though reasonably close, but not quite having the straight line speed in the Williams there to keep up with us along the straight, and we're going to just brake nice and early into the hairpin, just make sure we don't go flying off the road. And
okay, the stewards have now disabled DRS. DRS is now disabled.
As the leader finishes the race, DRS is disabled, and we're going to be able to do enough to finish 19th in the Chinese Grand Prix. Jeff is silent. Brilliant. Benny Kvyat, driver of the day.
It's a performance to be proud of from our Chinese Grand Prix winners today. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today, and a stunning win for Ferrari.
so it is Charles Leclerc who brings home the race win for Ferrari. Valtteri Bottas P2, Sebastian Vettel bringing home third place as well. Bottas is camouflaging.
So let's review the updated driver standings. Not the result our points leader wanted, but it certainly makes things interesting going forward. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Anthony Davidson, who do you pick?
Charles Leclerc showed exactly how to manage yourself out on the track today. He was almost flawless out there. Incredible stuff.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Our championship leaders retain their position, but their lead is shrinking. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time? Be sure to join us again as we continue to bring you the latest excitement in Formula One.
Alright, so that is that. I don't even really know what to say about that race. We just didn't have the pace at all once it come to the race. A really good qualifying, but come race day and we just dropped through the field. So I don't know. I want to blame tyre wear, but Guanyu Zhou did a great job in relative terms, and he finished where I qualified, albeit both Magnussen and Verstappen were tired, but even so, we should have done better than what we did, and we should have at least been ahead of Latifi, who, to be fair, did a good job as well, beating George Russell. But yeah, I don't really know why. I don't know why we were so far off the pace in the race compared to qualifying. I would say it's just consistency. You know, being able to do one good lap, but not being able to put, 50 good laps together, I suppose I could put it down to. But I don't know, I just feel like even on a good lap, I just wasn't, I don't know, I didn't have the same sort of edge, I suppose, that I did in qualifying. But anyway, doesn't really matter too much. We did manage to bring home a somewhat decent result for the team with 17th and 19th, beating Williams with 18th and 20th. So we do have that, and that we did, of course, beat our rival who didn't even finish the race. So yeah, it's not all bad, but it could have been a lot better for us in this one, and I did expect a lot more. I was hoping we could fight further up the field and look forwards from the start, not backwards. But oh well, it's still a new team, and we still have plenty of work left to do on this car, and I think soon enough we will be looking forwards and not backwards from our grid position, and we will start to fight 4 points hopefully in the near future. So anyway.
Good day today. Let's have your take on it.
Alright.
How do you feel the weather affected the outcome today?
I think it definitely changed it up a little bit at the end, and it made the conditions very difficult for the final few laps, but didn't affect the result too much.
Your teammate beat you today. Was it a setup issue or something else?
He was just better today. It's simple as that. He is a very get driver. Obviously, it's his home race, and he wanted to put on a good show for his home fans and to get a good result. And he beat me to the finish line. It's simple as that. He just raced faster, and yeah, he did a great job. So yeah, no issue.
Do you feel that your teammate put on a good show for their home crowd?
Yeah, as I said, he drove a great race today, gained a lot of positions relative to where he started. So yeah, he did a great job, and I'm sure the Chinese fans will be very happy with the result of this one, albeit a 17th. It's a great result for him and for our team, and hopefully we can also build on that going into the future.
You had a bit of contact today. Who was at fault there?
I'm not sure. These things can just happen from time to time. Obviously Magnussen has been a bit of a rival for the past few races, and rivals just come together every now and again.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Thank you, Claire. Alright, so that brings the Chinese Grand Prix weekend to a close. We moved back ahead of Magnussen in our rivalry because we did briefly drop behind him after qualifying, and he qualified ahead of us. So that's why, but we get 1 point clear of him. Here is the team acclaim. Guanyu Zhou levels up to level 6. Not really sure what that's going to do for us, but anyway, we do get the sponsor reward of 123,000, and somehow we did $10,000 worth of damage to our car, and I don't really know how that happened. We had no front wing damage throughout the race. My only thought is that because we caused the collision with Russell, maybe he got damage and we had to pay for that, but I'm not sure. But anyway, that's something I'll have to take note of in the future and see if I can figure out why that may have happened. But anyway, we are going to do the two 4-day events. Funded team event, that's going to boost all of the what do you call it, morale for everyone, as well as the esports event, which will boost the driver acclaim for me. Signing a new sponsor now because our team has level 5 acclaim. We're going to sign with Zigzag. They have a goal which is basically the lesser version of the one we already have, of completing 30 laps of any of the circuit during the weekend. So that is our goal for Zigzag. So yeah, that should be a fairly easy one to do, but new livery is being designed in the background. Not going to show that off too much until the next episode, so you'll have to just wait for that one. But we have another interview to do with Will Buxton, so let us get into that.
Well, it's great to be back at your headquarters, and I've got to say, an awful lot's changed since we were last here. Let's dive in with some questions. Would it be safe to say that, in terms of team orders, your career comes first in your team?
Well, first of all, thank you for coming today, but to answer your question, no. In each race, we're going to just try to do the best job we can, and if there is a chance for Guanyu Zhou to get points, I would not take that away.
Do you see your relationship with your second driver being long-term, or will you be looking for someone else if you're successful?
I think as long as he continues to deliver and continues to do the best job he can, I have no reason to look for anyone else at this point. So far he's done a great job, and he puts in a lot of effort, just like everyone else in this team. So yeah, at this point we're not looking for anyone else.
Your team's been picking up points fairly consistently. Do you think you'll be able to become a challenge to the top teams in the future?
In the future, maybe one day, that would be fantastic, but for now, yeah, we just need to put in the work and yeah, try to design a car and build a car that can make that challenge, because at this point, obviously we are not, you know, at their level just yet, but yeah, I hope that someday we can get there.
Will your team be going for the Constructors' Championship this season, or just for points?
Is that a joke? No, we're not aiming to win the Constructors this year, but I think a solid finish in the Constructors is possible. I think, you know, if we can beat, you know, 1 or 2, 3 teams in the Constructors, that would be a good result in their first season.
What are your predictions for your team going into this season?
Yeah, like I said, I think if we can beat, you know, maybe Williams, Alfa Romeo, Haas, some of those teams, I think that will be a reasonable goal to achieve for our first season. But yeah, just picking up points on occasion when we can, like we did in Australia, and I think yeah, that will be all we can really do. And if it works for us and we can finish high up, or as high up as we can in the Constructors, that's the goal basically for this season, as I said.
Well, thanks a lot for inviting us here. It's been fantastic.
I recommend we could go for something like this.
So one last thing to do before we end off the episode, that is to fix this tyre wear upgrade that failed on us, minor upgrade. That will come in very shortly, but not before the next race at Zandvoort, so just going to miss out there, but oh well. But anyway, another new track for us to learn though, so that'll be fun. But other than that, thank you very much for watching this video to the end, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.